Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the equations that we have that have these fraction pieces in them. So when you're solving for equations, the big idea is still to get the variable alone. So we're still trying to get x by itself. But I'm going to have to get rid of anything else that's on the same side. So usually the first thing we do when we're trying to get a variable by itself is usually get rid of any add or subtract. So we'll start here. So the opposite of adding 1 is subtracting 1. So once I do that, that cancels. I have x over 5, and 7 minus 1 is going to be 6. And then if I want to get x alone, I've got to get rid of this. And in a fraction, if there's a 5 in the bottom, that's almost like it's divided by 5. So the opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other. So that's going to cancel. So I have x equals 30. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. So in the next one again, I have a fraction piece here, and the x is what I want to get by itself. So I can't do anything with the top of this fraction until I get rid of the bottom. So let's get the fraction by itself first. So let's start here and get rid of the 1. So if it's adding 1, I'm going to subtract 1. So this cancels. I'm left with 2x over 3. And then 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2. Now, I do want to get this x part by itself. This whole top I want alone. So let's get rid of this. So if it's over 3, that's like divided by 3. So the opposite of dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3. So those will cancel. I'd have 2x left here. And then 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. And then to get rid of the 2, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I have x equals 3. Okay, I have a couple more we're going to look at just to make sure you're on the right track. Let's look at one that maybe doesn't come out as a whole number so you kind of know how to deal with that. Okay, now this starts out looking like a regular, normal solving problem. No fraction or anything. I think a lot of people have trouble because they kind of forget sometimes about the negative over here. So let's start to get x by itself. We're going to get rid of this first. So the opposite of subtracting 1 is adding 1. So 9x, and then negative 11 plus 1 is negative 10. And then to get x by itself, I would have to divide by 9. So first of all, this fraction doesn't reduce. So that might be one way they write that. If it could reduce, you should try. If I wanted to make that a mixed number, though, 9 would go into 10 once with 1 left over. So really, your answer could be in either form. Okay, now let's look at a fraction one that has a fraction in it and kind of has a fraction answer at the end, because I want you to feel pretty confident with those. So here is what I have here, 7x divided by 2 plus 5 equals 8. So I need to get this by itself, so I'm going to get rid of this. So the opposite of adding 5 is subtracting 5. So this cancels. You're left with 7x over 2. And then 8 minus 5 is 3. Then I've got to get this x part by itself, so I got to get rid of this. So the opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. Remember both sides. So that can cancel. 7x equals 6. And then dividing by 7. Now, 6 over 7 doesn't reduce. So I'm just going to write it like this. Okay, keep solving. We'll work on a few more next.